Buff Nation, what is going on? It's Russ. It's me. We're here for week 2 of Buff Blitz, Colorado versus Delaware. We got a lot to talk about, including final takeaways from what was going on last Friday against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And congratulations to them. But now it's time for us to break this thing down and start to move forward. We got a lot of exciting news. But enough of what I got to say. Russ, thank you for, again, doing this with me every Wednesday. It's a pleasure to do this, man. How are you doing today? How are you feeling this week?
Feeling better. I'm feeling better. I was not feeling so great over the weekend. Uh, you gotta love when CU loses and you get just a constant stream of DMs and messages and quote tweets and all this stuff. Again, taking every little ounce of what we said out of context just to prove a
I hope they were
point.
taking me out of context. Did that
I
happen?
mean, a lot of the altitude comments are like, "Well, the altitude didn't win you that game." No, no, no. I'm like, you're an idiot because you don't listen at all. But that's the problem with society today, if I'm being honest. So, I took a little hiatus from social media as much as I could this weekend. Just relaxed, feeling good. Watched the Georgia Tech game from the All 22 on Monday. So got to spend some time doing that. Felt a lot better about everything. Feeling good heading into this matchup this weekend.
Well, good, man. I'm glad you were able to take some time away. Personally, I am just thrilled we still got football back. We're 0-1, but that's okay. We get that one loss out of the way. That means what? We only lose a few more, right? That's how.
That's
Or
right.
maybe we just win 11 straight. That's what we really want. But before we get into my conversation I had with Daniel from over at the Feathers and Field Goals Delaware podcast, that we'll get to in a bit, guys. Want to encourage you to like, subscribe to both channels, get in the chat. You guys are what makes this fun. But I want to ask you, man, what are some of your big takeaways? You're saying you're feeling a little bit better. Maybe we can talk about a few of these things from the game as opposed to how we were feeling on Friday. Maybe give me a couple things or a thing you're feeling great about. Also a thing, man, that still might be bugging you from the Friday matchup.
Yeah, I mean, overall, a lot higher on how the team did. Getting to watch the all 22 footage. I don't think Pat Shermer called as bad of a game as we wanted to react to Friday night after the game. I definitely liked some of the stuff he did. A lot more motion, a lot more movement when it came to that. We ran the ball pretty successfully. I mean, as far as CU is concerned, obviously we did not match Georgia Tech's running ability,
Right.
so there is that side of things. I do, question, well, why didn't Micah Welsh play the rest of the half? And nobody has yet to ask. Nobody asked Prime that today during his press conference. And I was like screaming at the top of my lungs, like, somebody just tell us what happened. Did Micah get hurt in the first half that kept him out? Are you going to be rotating the guys out of series? Like, what was the purpose of that with him carrying a 9-yard average at that point when he got taken out? But I don't know. Outside of that, Kaidon Salter, I think, played a lot better than I wanted to say. Friday night when we talked, I said maybe it's Juju time, maybe it's time to do that against Delaware. I take it back.
Well, we're still getting
I
it.
thought, yeah, well, yeah, we'll see what happens. I take it back. The overthrows that I was mad at when I was watching that game on Friday night, watching the All 22, I could see what Kaidon Salter was trying to do. Him and his receivers need to get on the same page. I don't think they are on the same page when it comes to what happens when the play breaks down. What happens when you go off script? What are you doing? Are you going left to right? Are you just continuing your motion? Are you coming back to line of scrimmage? And we literally had, Dave, the game-winning play happening in that game. Ball game tied. Salter rolls out, points to DeKalon Taylor to run up the field. DeKalon Taylor is behind the defense wide open, and he just does not put 2 and 2 together and take off. Instead, he just stays flat-footed. and Salter sails it over him because Salter was trying to float the ball
Mhm.
up the field to give him a chance to run under it to take it to the house at that point. So there were a lot of plays like that I think a lot of people need to go back and look. If you have access to all 22, it is a massive advantage to be able to really see beyond what the TV shows. So that's probably my other comment. As far as the bad goes, I'm still pissed off about the clock management with 2 minutes left. Coach
Oh
Prime
man.
today clarifies, oh, well, when you use negative yards, you're not going to lose a timeout there. Literally every single coach, player, anything has said you absolutely call a timeout when you have multiple timeouts left and you do negative yards on first down. It is an absolute timeout 100 out of 100 times. There is no ifs, ands, or buts, which makes me, again, I would have felt better if Prime was like, you know what? I messed up. That's on me. No, he tripled down as far as I'm concerned. And that is probably my biggest issue with that game. And I really wish he had just taken responsibility for that when it happened. What about you, Dave? Now that we've had a couple days, how are you feeling?
Yeah, well, I think I feel kind of similar to what I was feeling from this weekend. I think again with Kane Salter, it's almost like you had an entirely new offense and everybody still is kind of learning how to play together and play off of each other. And I think that's what we saw a lot with him going off script. Now I will say there isn't any excuse. I think that this was just jitters his first game. You know, he overthrew some gimmies, you know, to the running backs out there in the flats. That those types of passes have to be made moving forward. And individually, I am really happy with the performances that we saw out of Michael Welsh. That's great. I think some of the flashes that we saw from our linebacker play as well, although it was inconsistent, and they did contribute to leading big games or leading two big gains, rather, if I can speak correctly. And but I think Kane Salter's gonna settle in. The offensive line looks, I thought, fantastic. I think it seems like it has improved another level from where we've been. But yeah, I feel like people are jumping on Salter a little bit too much. I think not to fast forward too quickly, but I think this will be a get right game for him in the offense. Hopefully, they can find an identity. But I will say, I'm still on the Pat Shermer hate train going into week 2, Russ. And this is what I gotta say. I understand. I understand that probably some of those plays that he drew up, they were good in theory. But I'll be damned. This man didn't drop one play action for Kane Salter.
It's
What's up
true.
with that? What's up with that? Micah Welsh has 3 rushes for 20 yards in the first drive. And what does Pat Shermer decide to do with his brilliant play calling and play design? He decides on the second series to go 3 straight passes. It's an absolute disaster, 3 and out. And we don't see him give the ball to Micah Welsh until like midway through the second quarter. We're making football way too complicated. Jordan Seaton said it after the game, man. There was no reason to take Micah Welsh out the game when he's playing that well. This is not rec league. This is not everybody gets a snap. Everybody gets to feel good about themselves or they transfer. I want the guys who are playing good to stay in the game so we can win some games. Enough with going 4 deep at safety. Oh, man, I'm going dark side. I'm going dark side. But we rotated way too much in that Georgia Tech game, man.
I just hope they play more simple against Delaware. I hope they come into that game and just say, you know what, we're going to take what they give us. We're going to drive down their throats. I want to see Salter simplify his game. I think you hit it on the head, Dave. Some of the plays that he made, I think he was trying too much. I think he was trying to go for those home run balls when they didn't need to happen at the time. They were not easy plays. They were not required plays. When if he looked in front of him, he had probably a guaranteed 5 to 7 yards every time one of those plays happened. Shrink the game down, control the clock. Let's play simple. I think that's what I would prefer to see. And hopefully we see that come this Saturday against an opponent that I don't care what anybody says. I hear so many people hyping up Delaware like they're the second coming. Like, I'm sorry. We absolutely should go in there and beat them handedly. If we don't, then yes, there is something wrong with this team, and it is not going to be a pretty season. Like, then the fans can crash out and be upset and mad. If this is a close game and it's coming down to the wire, that's not good. If we lose this game, season's over. I'm sorry. I will say it at that point. Like, unless something drastically changes, unless some coaching staff changes, player changes, maybe Dave, we play so poorly with Salter. They put Julian Lewis. He makes a comeback. We still lose that game. That might be the only scenario where I'm like, okay, maybe there is some hope for the future because Julian Lewis will be our starting quarterback at that point. Again, not saying that Kaidon Salter is bad or that that's going to happen. I'm just saying I threw out these scenarios last week, and I got so many people in the different comments and chats being like, well, this didn't happen for you. I'm like, I know. I said if that didn't happen later on in the video, if you watch, that this is what happens. We lose the game. I said in the video where I said we're going to beat Georgia Tech, if Georgia Tech runs the ball through us, we're losing the game. Guess what? They ran the ball through us. We lost the game. Although we lost it by only 7 points and had a chance to win. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, at least we got a lot of guys, a lot of snaps. At least everybody can come home, pat themselves on the back and say, you know what? I played in the game. I played. That's how it felt.
They all got orange slices in the locker room after the game, Dave. They were all happy. They were all cute. Their parents said, oh, way to go. Nice job. Like, you got to play. You sucked.
I thought, okay, you looked at the All-22. Maybe you can answer this for me. I thought Ben Finiseth played well. Why the hell didn't we see him at all in the second half of the game?
I will tell you this. The sub that went in for him, Love, had a really bad game from safety. If I'm being honest, Dave, Ben Finiseth did fine. He's not a starter on this team. We should have stuck with our guys. And if I'm being totally honest with you, Dave, once we figured out, or we should have known what Georgia Tech was going to do that game with the power option that they ran, we should have pulled a safety. We should have pulled a safety out, and we should have added either another linebacker. We should have gone Reggie Hughes, Martavius French, and Sean Myers. I think we would have been much more successful if we did that. I don't get why we didn't make that adjustment. The safeties were not playing well. You look at the touchdowns, you look at the long plays that Georgia Tech had. It came because there were hat on hat across the board. All the linebackers were taken care of. All of the linemen were taken care of. And it was one-on-one with a safety and a running back. And our safeties overcommitted time and time again, picking the wrong hole, leaving a wide open. And if you look at the game-winning touchdown that King went untouched, it's because Love dropped down, went to the wrong side of the hole, leaving the hole wide open, and King just to walk right into the end zone.
It's time to fill that hole this week against Delaware, man. That's what we got to do on defense. There was one other thing that I wanted to bring up here. Oh, yes, it's this. Please, let's find an identity on offense. Please, God.
Yes.
Please, football gods. And this is what I'm suggesting. If I'm Coach Prime, this is immediately what I did with Pat Shurmur and the offensive staff. Okay? I bring them into this the meeting room. I sit them down, and I say, I don't know whose fault it is, Marshall Faulk or Pat Shurmur. Stop rotating the running backs. Dumb. If the first one starts playing well, just keep playing them, man. This isn't rocket science. Pat Shurmur, throw out all your beautifully designed plays. We're going, remember the Titans, 8-play playbook, man. Let's just have some stuff that we know we can execute with Kaidon Salter and execute it at an excellent level. We don't need to be doing anything too crazy, but let's do stuff that gets us yards, that continues to build time of possession, and you do that by running the ball, baby. Doing some speed option, then building some play action off of that, doing what Jordan Seaton said, man. Give me a remember the Titans playbook, Pat Shurmur. Please, God.
Did you watch today's practice?
No.
There was about 6 plays shown in practice with Draylon Miller in the backfield. Just FYI.
That's cool.
They handed the ball
cool.
to Draylon.
All right.
About 6 times in the video I noticed he was getting the ball. It sounds like he's going to be a part of the running game a little bit more this weekend than last weekend.
Well, I like what we saw out of our running backs. Maybe we get some 2 running back sets, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking, Dave.
Because freaking Micah Welsh looked fantastic. Simeon Price had some
so good.
But Micah Welsh, man, this guy's running through guys, and I thought he was hurt. That's how. Anyways, I'm sounding like a broken record, Russ.
Well, and not only that from practice today, Dave, they also were hitting today, Dave. There was no restrictions.
Good.
Coach Prime said, you are full contact today. The only thing he doesn't want to see is nobody diving at each other's knees. And so full contact, they were running the ball. I like where this is going. Okay. I like where this is going.
Did we see any running back swing passes? Shoot that stuff out into the stars. I never want to see another running back swing pass, man, for the rest of this season.
What I will say, Dave, is we were probably about, I don't know, a few inches away from scoring multiple touchdowns on those swing plays. I know everybody hated them. What really went wrong on those plays, the receivers could not hold their blocks because they saw something with Georgia Tech. I truly do believe that they saw something with Georgia Tech after watching the All-22 because for whatever reason, Dave, they would throw like 3 receivers out into the flat, and Georgia Tech was throwing 2 DBs out into the flat. They were leaving somebody open. They kept doing that the whole game. They were running a zone formation where they left a receiver open almost every time. Why we didn't adjust to that and throw to them, why we didn't, again, the conversation should be, and I hope it's happening. I tweeted it out and people got butthurt about it. But the guy who needs to be yelling and screaming at his guys this week, by the way, Dave, Coach Phillips, because the receivers could not block to save their lives. And if they could block like our receivers did last year, if you remember some of the plays that LeJonte, Travis, Jimmy, those guys blocked. If they did that, we score 3 more touchdowns because I counted 3 separate plays where we were gone. There was nobody behind the receivers. There was nobody behind anything. It was wide open, and our guys got manhandled when it came to the blocking on the outside. So I'm just saying that's a part of it. That's truly a part of it watching the tape. Now, the question is, Dave, if we can't block, don't run those damn plays.
Yeah,
not going to work.
Maybe we shouldn't do it with 1:05 left, having to go 80 yards to tie the game.
Different.
Freaking
yes.
Pat Shurmur, support my argument right here, man. Pat Shurmur, the definition. I can't believe I'm flipping this hard so quickly on Pat Shurmur. He's the definition of if it's broke, continue to do it, man. You don't even try to fix it, man. You just continue to do the definition of insanity. Do the stuff that doesn't work over and over again. But thankfully, we got a time to get this right against the Delaware Blue Hens. Russ, I don't want to take too much time before we start our interview here, but I do, again, just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Please subscribe to Buffs News Weekly. You can find that in the description of my channel. You're always doing great content. Before we get into my interview with Dan, I have a quick word from my sponsor. I got to pay the bills. You understand what's going on with my channel, but I now have a flagship sponsor with Profit X. So we're going to play this right now and then dive into Delaware. Want to give a quick shout out to the flagship sponsor of David Talks Buffs and David Talks Broncos YouTube channel, and that is Profit X, America's #1 sports prediction market. This is peer-to-peer sports prediction where players play against each other, like you and me, instead of a sports book versus the house. You almost always get the best odds on any play that you're looking to make. They operate in over 40 states, including Texas, where I reside. So use the promo code Dave and claim up to $200 in profit cash for all plays in the first 30 days of playing on the site. Terms and conditions apply. Now, I want to show you a couple plays that I'm making this week. Denver Broncos -8, +100. Traditional sports books right now have it at like -100. But here with Profit X, I get +100. Then here with the Colorado Buffaloes, I decided to do my own custom spread for the first quarter of CU versus Delaware this weekend. What are you waiting for? Go ahead, click the link in the description, sign up using my promo code Dave on Profit X, and join me on America's #1 sports prediction market. Yes. Thank you so much, Profit X. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channels. Here's where we're at. And we also need to give a thanks. How could we have gone this long as well, Russ? Let's just get right to it, man. Let's get right to it. Freaking Buffs box, man. We got Julian Lewis playing for the first time.
Go get your Buffs box, everybody. $7 Taco Bell. You get the best items at Taco Bell. Let's be honest, because the GOAT of Taco Bell is the cheesy gordita crunch. Okay. Then you have the 7-layer burrito. You got the Doritos Locos tacos, and you've got the cinnamon sticks, all for $7. I'm telling you. And then of course, Dave, as you showed, you get a large drink with one of your favorite players. Hey, do we think Draylon Miller is going to go off this week? I think he is.
Better.
I think he is. So make sure you go out, get that, get it. Hey, if you're coming into town for the game, if you're going to be in town for the game, there is a Taco Bell right by the stadium. You don't have to go too far. Get your Buffs box. Thank you for Buffs box. And also Buffs, Taco Bell is going to be donating $1,000 per touchdown to a CU scholarship fund for every touchdown. They already donated $2,000 last week. Let's hope that this week is as big as we think it will be, and Colorado will dominate the Delaware Blue Hens and add a ton of money to the scholarship fund. So thank you again to Taco Bell, Sco Buffs, and Liv Moss.
Beautifully said. Oh my gosh. I mean, guys, go support Taco Bell. Colorado area Taco Bell.
We got a lot of Buffs box being purchased in the chat right now. Now.
Russ, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but did I see that they sent you some more mail this week? Is that true?
It'll be on the show eventually. I will say what you saw was one of my chat people, D Nice, got a t-shirt sent to him by me in the mail for being our fan take of the week. That's right. Every Monday, if you call in and you're selected, you will be a fan of the week and get a Taco Bell CU player t-shirt. He got a Jordan Seaton this past week. I believe her name was Dina or Deanna. I can't remember. I apologize. From Memphis, she got the fan of the week. She's being sent a t-shirt that she'll be getting in the mail next week. So if anybody wants some cool Taco Bell Buff swag, make sure to join us on Mondays for the call-in show.
Beautiful. Cannot wait. That's awesome. Okay. Now for the moment you guys have all been waiting for. So last week we had King season on to preview Georgia Tech. And I got to say, looking back, man, I think King season had a pretty good idea of what was going on with that matchup, man.
Like, he called it. He said the backup running back is going to be the guy to watch. And sure enough, who was their best, like, pure runner? It was the backup running back, not the starter. The starter.
Yeah. So this time I had the courtesy of interviewing Daniel from the Feathers and Field Goals podcast, guys. So he's going to break down from his perspective everything you need to know about Delaware coming into this game. And he's also making the trip out for a week to stay in Colorado and go to the game. So, yeah, isn't that cool? Isn't that really cool?
That is cool.
Yeah. Anyways, Russ, I will play this, and then we will come on here and give our keys to the game and all that afterwards. Buff Nation, I am here with the co-host of the Feathers and Field Goals podcast, a Delaware football podcast, joined by Daniel Steenkamer. Daniel, thank you again so much for joining the Buff Splits, David Talks Buffs tonight. Really do appreciate it. Thanks for having me on your show. But without further ado, would just love to hear a little bit about you and also Delaware making this transition to FBS football.
Well, thanks so much, David, for graciously having me on. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity. It's always a privilege to kind of represent the University of Delaware in any forum, and then especially when we're talking football like this. So I'm honored, and congrats as well on all your milestones with your different platforms, including this one right here. I'm excited to watch what you continue to do. But yeah, a little bit about me. I just graduated from the University of Delaware this spring in May. So kind of a funny feeling for me growing up, always attending Delaware football games. It's been the family season tickets in my family. I guess I view myself now as the third generation season ticket holder at Delaware football games. And all three of those generations are present every home Saturday or home Wednesday, as the case may be, in Conference USA. And so Delaware football is what I've known, and I'm addicted and I'm not going to stop. So having this forum at Feathers and Field Goals, that's our podcast that I co-host with Bryce Leslie and our producer, Brody. We have an awesome time. So excited to get into it now by starting discussing Delaware's FBS transition. And it started back with the announcement of impending reclassification that occurred in November of 2023. Delaware had just gotten started its FCS playoff run that season, which ended up in Missoula, Montana, sort of out in the big sky in Colorado country at Montana. So once that season ended of 23, going into 24 season, that was Delaware's final FCS year and year one of a 2-year transition that completes once this season is done. So Delaware's playing a Conference USA schedule this fall. It joined Conference USA on July 1st of this year. So in that sense, the full membership is there, but it is a 2-year total football transition. And so what that is we mentioned the 24 season, and now we're in that 25 season where Delaware isn't supposed to make a bowl game this year. It's not supposed to be eligible. But if UD does hit 6 wins and there aren't enough teams that can fill the slots, we know where that goes. Maybe Delaware would be that first team called up as a replacement. So that's kind of the bit of the mindset here. There's a long ways to go. We'll talk about how UD opened up, because I don't think Delaware is anywhere close to looking like a bowl team from some shortcomings shown against Delaware State. And so things to clean up. But the transition overall, I think, has brought a lot of excitement to the football program. It's a proud tradition at the Division II and then the 1AA FCS levels throughout the history of Delaware football. But this has really been rejuvenating because of all the changes happening in college athletics and the landscape being decided by the power conferences or the defendant conferences in the House case settlement for Delaware to be up at the same FBS level. Although we do know it's unofficially split into 2 tiers of FBS, obviously. It's big time for the University of Delaware as a state flagship to be in that FBS boat and have a little bit more control over realignment in the future and all those kind of things, positioning Delaware to be at that second highest level of college ball, whatever that winds up being in the future.
Beautifully said. And I got my fingers crossed for you. I mean, that would be cool to make a bowl game in your first year in Conference USA and definitely going up to more of the big leagues. That's a huge deal. I'm so excited for you, and I'm excited that you're going to make the trip out to Colorado for this game. I think Boulder Folsom Field is one of the best venues to watch college football in, so I'm glad you're going to get a real life taste of the Folsom Field experience. But I'm curious, on the Delaware side, who are some of the players that we need to be aware of as Buffs fans? I'm like, who's going to be making plays for Delaware? Who are some of your star players? Who really showed out this past week against Deshaun Jackson in Delaware State when you guys went up against them?
Yeah, Delaware's big headline coming out of the Delaware State game is things turn at quarterback to Nick Minicucci. And you might call him a backup quarterback just on paper, the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart, as starter Zach Marker devastatingly went down early in the Delaware State game. I say devastatingly. Marker had played in the maximum 4 games in the regular season last year in order to redshirt for this FBS season of 2025. So to have that redshirt rule be worked in 2024, then take Marker into 2025 as a starting quarterback, a great story for Marker. He'd been a JUCO transfer from the state of Iowa, coming out to Delaware and battling for a starting QB job through 23, being in that mix in 23 and part of the mix in 24 as well. It all led to 25. and then Marker getting hurt against Delaware State, not expecting to see him against Colorado. So Nick Minicucci, though, he's been a player Delaware's called upon in big games, also due to injuries and due to managing Marker's eligibility last season. So Minicucci, he's a bigger quarterback. I look at him as a player who, I guess he doesn't have the power conference size. I don't know that he'll jump off as an NFL profile size, but Minicucci's a player who, he's a bruiser. He's a gamer. He's mobile enough. He can show that burst and acceleration. He's not as quick or as fleet of foot as Zach Marker was and is. But Minicucci's a player who can put his foot in the ground, and he trucked a Del State defender to get in the end zone for Delaware's first touchdown on Thursday night in week 1. So Minicucci's a bruiser. We've seen him throw blocks as a quarterback. I mean, he is not afraid of contact. Now, the Big 12 contact is going to be a little different, but Minicucci, I give him a lot of credit. The physical toughness with being a bruising runner and a sturdy passer, but also the mental toughness to step into a game, high pressure for the first FBS game Delaware just had in week 1. I mean, first game as an FBS member, not against an FBS opponent, but some pressure of being a big favorite at home. And all of a sudden, early in a game, you're a little cold maybe, but your preparation as a player like Minicucci really shows. And Minicucci turning in multiple touchdown passes in addition to a rushing touchdown against DSU. So Nick Minicucci, number 4 at quarterback. That's the expectation for Delaware at QB. And that's where it starts on offense. But Anwar O'Neal is a left tackle on Delaware's offensive line who has high expectations. He's a player who does physically profile as a little more of that power conference level recruit. So I think that's a big bookend right there. O'Neal at left tackle. That left side of the O-line for Delaware in general. There's O'Neal. There's a guard named Patrick Shupp, number 71, who's such a seasoned and experienced, I call him proverbially a pro. There's a seasoned pro out there. Shupp has been with the program for so many years, and he's really a mainstay at a guard spot. So O'Neal, a younger player with starting experience from last year, and then Shupp next to him. That's interesting for that O-line to protect Nick Minicucci, because Nick Minicucci, he's not your average backup. He has a lot of starts under his belt for Delaware, but Delaware doesn't have that same QB depth now if you go past Nick Minicucci. So it is important for Delaware's offensive line that I should mention some of those names. Anwar O'Neal, number 70, and number 71, Patrick Shupp. On the defensive side of things, KT Say is that middle safety in Delaware's 3 safety look. Delaware plays what they call the hashtag 3 high life. If you search 3 high life on Twitter, you'll see defensive coordinator for Delaware, Manny Rojas, tweeting about the 3 high life. And that's the slogan for Delaware's 3-3-5 defense, where you'll see the base 3-man defensive line front and also 3 high safeties kind of roving around. KT Say, number 7, is in the middle there as a free safety. And he is just a very talented player, covers a lot of ground, had an interception against Delaware State, a good nose for the football, probably would be playing, or could already play a level up from this G5 level if maybe Say was that much taller. Or, I mean, it depends on what he puts on tape this year. Delaware would love to have him in the future still, but he's that player who is just an absolute mainstay for Delaware defensively. That's KT Say, number 7. So I do think Delaware profiles pretty well up the middle of its defense. I mentioned Say at safety. Linebackers Dylan Trainer and Gavin Mole, number 19 and 35 respectively, should start in the middle. And then up front in the defensive line, a lot of older defensive line types like a Jack Hall, number 93. Dominic Bronya, number 52, can also queue up on the defensive line. I think about edge types like Noah Matthews, who transferred in from Kentucky. He'll wear number 13. So Delaware does shift around its D-line so much that in total, it really is that center part of the defense, up the gut. That I'm not saying Colorado can't run the ball on Delaware with the base 3-man front, but I am saying that Delaware does have veteran presences there in the middle, and that maybe contrasts with the outside, and we might get to in a little bit. But that's kind of my large scale ramble, all things at once maybe. But I do think that those are some things to highlight at each position.
Very helpful, very insightful. But now I need you to put your coach's hat on.
Yep.
If you're responsible for creating the game plan or the strategy on offense and on defense, what does Delaware attempt to accomplish in this game against Colorado? If they're going to shock the world, I think y'all are like dogs by like 23.5 points, something like that. I don't even know.
Right. I would expect it to be more too by the end of the week. I do. Yep.
But what needs to happen for y'all to pull off the upset? How are you coaching this team?
Well, I go back to a game that I'll use for comparison, 2 games for point of comparison here. Delaware did beat Navy in Coach Carty's first game as head coach for Delaware. Ryan Carty helping FCS Delaware beat FBS Navy. Now Navy, a service academy, not the same kind of opponent as a Big 12 Coach Prime led team, but what happened in the Navy game in 2022 was Delaware got some takeaways and getting the ball turned over, flipping the field, stealing a possession. Having that kind of chaos is what can help any underdog, but particularly a Delaware defense that wants to get out the field probably as quickly as possible in the elevation, maybe having to deal with the fatigue of the altitude, let alone the fatigue of trying to track down Kaidon Salter. So I do think that, hey, if Delaware can pry the ball loose a couple times, or at least one time, if we're talking about a fumble recovery, perhaps get the ball on the ground. Delaware's 3 safeties do create maybe sometimes some confusion, an interception or two off of pressure created up front by the Delaware trench mob, they call it, along the defensive line. So in the end, any way Delaware can manage a turnover, I was talking about on defense, but hey, maybe even special teams, crowd the punt return, see if maybe you can get in the head of a punt return man and get a muff. So I would say that stuff like that needs to go down in terms of playing with some extra aggression. It's not like Delaware has that much to lose as this big an underdog. So I say defensively, that's where a lot goes into it. But as a baseline on defense, Delaware is going to need to tackle much better. Delaware's tackling grades were poor in week 1. It looked the part too on the eye test. Some poor angles, some really nice athletes on Deshaun Jackson's team exposed Delaware a little bit on the edges. And I would say that Delaware didn't practice with as much contact late in camp, being a bit banged up. So some of it was chalked up to that locally in terms of, just getting back to that physical routine of actually hitting again and wrapping up. But when you're not causing turnovers, Delaware can't afford to be giving up extra yards after contact or taking poor angles to the ball when there is a defender present. So it won't be perfect, but at a baseline level, if you're not taking it away, that needs to be the case. On offense, so much is going to rest in Nick Minicucci's hands. I know Delaware fans would love to see a baseline ground game established in order to maybe help a little bit of time of possession, but got to understand that Delaware is a spread offense, a tempo offense, and I don't expect Delaware to shy away from being its base offense and showing tempo and spreading out the defense and really chucking the ball around a variety of receivers who I'd love to get into in a little bit. But I do think that offensively, as much as Delaware fans might like to say, let's try to run right at Colorado a little bit. I know that was discussed with the Georgia Tech game in terms of run defense. It'll be a patient mix, I think, for fans because so many RPOs are called. They're counting on Nick Minicucci and the rest of the offense to make the right decisions when to take that run option or when to chuck it for maybe a quick pass and try to get Colorado out in space and those kinds of things. So I think it's a little bit out of character to say Delaware would need to just grind the clock and own the ball as long as possible on offense. I just have a hard time saying that because that's not the typical identity. But heck, what the identity is for Delaware on offense is breaking what we call, and I'm sure others call X plays, to the explosives, plays of 20 yards or more. I think it might be 20 or 25 run and pass. Okay. Teams define it differently, but typically 20 yards or more explosive play being the kind of they keep track as a stat of explosive plays. I'm sure it's not unique to Delaware, but it gets brought up all the time around here. And if Delaware can hit next play right after a turnover, that kind of combines both of the coaching strategies there is make it so that the pressure starts to be felt by a home team that we know has a lot to prove from your content and your analysis. We've been able to learn that Colorado certainly has a lot that it would like to clean up, improve, and calm down for the home fan base. So I expect a motivated Colorado team. And so if I'm coaching Delaware, maybe pull out some bag of tricks on offense. You don't have to play it too conservatively and try to only own the clock. But on defense, wrap up better and go for the ball.
Yeah, you guys have the advantage of coming in here with nothing to lose. Like, y'all can play loose. Y'all can throw out some of these trick plays and just see how it goes.
Right.
We got a little bit more pressure falling 0-1. We're at home. We're the ones paying for your trip out here to come and play us. So we got to make sure that this is an investment that goes our direction.
Right.
You guys can come in and play loose. One last quick question before we plug your show, everything like that, Daniel, but you mentioned the wide receivers. Can you name a couple of guys that you expect to be involved quite a bit from that position going up against DJ McKinney and a few of our other corners?
Yeah, it'll be big time. I'm glad you asked because Delaware, I think, would probably have the reputation as a bit of a pass-happy offense, but that's maybe partially a result of the fact that most plays that are called have some kind of option to throw it or the QB is making a decision and you're just getting a lot of chances to go around with the ball in however many ways on any given play. And so there isn't one lead receiver so far this year. Jake Thal is a name to know, number 15. He'll be a punt returner as well for Delaware. Thal is a player who's especially notable on third downs and maybe even fourth downs, maybe a short pass, short hands, shorter routes. get to maybe Thal in the slot. He's a player who is an older type, transferring in originally from Michigan. I don't know if fans might remember. I think Thal was in that moment in the Rose Bowl. There was a near muffed punt lost late in the Rose Bowl that might have been an FBS playoff game. You can tell I don't follow the power conferences as closely, but so I don't want to mischaracterize that moment.
No,
but I feel like I associate Thal with that moment as well from Michigan, so fans could pull that up. But he's been very reliable for Delaware. Jake Thal has been, we call it third and Thal now. Bryce has been using that term over at Feathers and Field Goals, our show, calling it third and Thal. So Jake Thal, a starting receiver for Delaware, as well as Kyrie Duplessis, a Coastal Carolina transfer who made a really sweet one-handed catch against Delaware State. That was the one play in the first half that jump-started and brought Delaware to life, because Delaware had a slower start and was maybe a little bit shell-shocked or just a bit uncomfortable with the emotions of losing Zach Marker to injury at quarterback. And Del State was surprising folks maybe and had been playing more competitively than expected. So a little bit of uneasiness in the first game for Delaware. And Kyrie Duplessis, number 19, he makes a one-handed catch that changes the energy for Delaware. And Duplessis also had a touchdown catch in the game as well for UD. So number 19, Duplessis, number 15, Thal. And I also want to shout out number 9, Jakari Kelly, who's a speedster from the slot who really does a nice job holding onto the ball despite getting popped. He can get popped maybe a little bit over the middle, harder hits that you see a guy take up the seam. But Kelly is not just like a scat back receiver or getting out of bounds and avoiding contact. No, I think he's capable of absorbing some bigger blows. Number 9 for Delaware, Kelly is out there. He's about maybe my height or a little taller. Hard to say, but I'm not the tallest guy in the room. So definitely that slot receiver build for Jakari Kelly. Can't leave out number 18, Sean Wilson, a younger receiver who was my breakout pick for this season. Sean Wilson, I think, maybe looks the part the most of any of Delaware's receivers in terms of having that versatile body type, probably can move all around. They want to shift all of Delaware's receivers all over the formation, but especially a guy like 18 Wilson who can, I think, just kind of fit in anywhere on the field, be used in short yardage, I think soft hands. But Duplessis was especially, I think, a couple more targets ahead of Wilson. But since they're both relative newcomers to Delaware still, I kind of view them in a similar class. And honestly, they look pretty similar when their jerseys are a bit rolled up. And you see 18 and 19, and it's harder to even decipher them sometimes. So the wide receiver scouting report goes pretty deep. Delaware's offensive identity has a lot to do with the many pass catchers who they expect to count on, because it's a tempo offense. You think about the substitutions, rolling guys in. So I do think that at receiver, Nick Minicucci does have a bunch of toys to play with.
Well, I think that this is the kind of game that I think is going to be maybe a little underrated when it comes to the excitement factor, especially with the brand of offense that Delaware is bringing, as you explained. And so, I'm pumped again for you to be at Folsom. I'm really thankful that you took the time to break down the Delaware Blue Hens for us. And Delaware might be a team that I might have to add to my wagon list this year, after this matchup concludes. I'm very curious to see now how y'all perform throughout Conference USA. But Daniel, as we conclude, please let the people know where they can find you. And if they want to jump on the Blue Hen bandwagon for a Conference USA team, where do they find you? What do you got going on?
Well, thanks so much, David. Again, it's been a pleasure, and I apologize to the listeners in advance, or maybe after the fact now, because I know I'm kind of like talking about Coach Carty's tempo. I get a little bit of a tempo too. I'm excited about it. I feel like I'm going 100 miles an hour sometimes, so I apologize. Maybe
you're doing great.
Maybe folks with the playback button can have the playback speed a certain way. But no, for Feathers and Field Goals, that's our podcast. Bryce and Brody and I host it out of Delaware here, and it's feathersandfieldgoals.com. You write out those words and type it in. A new website for us that just started with this football season, with this academic year. All the podcasts are housed on the website now as well, in addition to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, where you can search us up, and it'll be under Bryce Leslie's name, Feathers and Field Goals. So if you're an audio-only person, you can check us out on those podcast streamers. And then the website as well, we have written content so far supplied by Bryce, position-by-position breakdowns of Delaware football heading into the year, also on our website. So check those out. If you want a little more, check my work, you can do that on our website as well. And our YouTube channel has just gotten started. So if you're watching on YouTube now, you can also spin over and think about subscribing or clicking on a couple of our videos at Feathers and Field Goals. You can search it up on YouTube and find us there. We've got a ways to catch up to your output and your numbers on YouTube. And I know you're the YouTube actually milestones most recently, so we can only aspire. But I'll plug all of those media options to check out Feathers and Field Goals.
Well, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, I'll throw that all in the description of my stream as well. And yes, happy to share all the secrets I have discovered doing this. Now this is my 3rd season. So this was awesome. Again, I hope you absolutely love your week in Colorado. And yeah, let's stay in touch. SCO Buffs, what do you say for the Blue Hens? Do you guys have like a go Hens or what?
Yes.
What do you guys say?
Yes. So this will be a little bit of TMI, but it gives you a sense of the tradition and kind of the demographics of Delaware's fans. So I grew up on Delaware football, so I kind of associate myself with like the old guard too, like the very experienced, multi-generational fans. So they'll just say "Go Hens," give you a "Go Hens" just like that. Now that's to me the default official statement. Like that's the slogan is "Go Hens." Now on the student side, of course, in the growing up on the Alabama era, and a lot of schools using the roll term, there's like a roll hens as well. It's sort of like a Barstool Delaware flavor or a student flavor. Current students, recent alumni, a little roll hens on it too. So you'll hear both. You'll definitely hear both. You'll see roll hens online, like in tweets or posts or what have you. But so I'm going to be saying "Go Hens" out in Colorado, though, just as a tribute to the legend of the tradition.
Wonderfully said. Go Hens, roll hands. We'll see you around, Daniel. Thanks again, man.
Thank you so much.
Dave, you're muted. Yep, you're muted.
I'm muted. All right. Want to thank Daniel again for coming on. You can see like why we talked for like an hour off camera. Like you put us 2 in a room, it's over. So a lot of great knowledge. Again, thank you, Daniel. Guys, go subscribe. Follow the Blue Hens, roll hens. Russ, give me some takeaways you had from that interview. And again, thank you, Daniel.
I had a lot of takeaways. Gosh, his information and the way that he broke it down was so amazing. I like the matchup against Delaware. I really, really do. And even hearing him talk about it, what was the one thing that Delaware struggled against Delaware State? They struggled against their playmakers. They struggled with tackling. They struggled with angles. Dave, that is a telltale sign. If that happens again, Colorado is putting up big numbers on Saturday. The offense will not have a problem because we do not have a lack of playmakers, whether it's DeKalon Taylor, whether it's Quentin Gibson. I have a feeling, Dave, I have a feeling down in my loins. I'm getting a tingle that I think Quentin Gibson is going to go off this Saturday. And hearing Daniel describe the defense, I think that it's going to benefit us. And dare I say it, Dave? I know you're not going to be happy with this, but with the system that they run, the short screen passes might be pretty effective, Dave, if you don't mind me saying so. 3 safeties, your deep plays are not going to be there, but guess what? We don't need those. We've got playmakers. Put the ball in their hands, hit the turf, and take off. As far as the other side of the ball goes, Dave, I really hope that they try to throw it around the yard on us. I really do. Like, again, I'm just starting to really like this because we know Colorado's kryptonite. We saw it Friday night. You run the ball on Colorado if you want to beat us. If you're going to pass it and try and get in a shootout with us, we are going to absolutely roll you and roll you straight out of Boulder. So I am very interested in this matchup now, hearing how that's going to go. Dave, what were your thoughts after speaking to Daniel?
Yeah, so I have a lot of the same sentiments you do. I feel like this is a matchup where we match up very well for obvious reasons, and they're not built in a way like the teams that have given us trouble in the past. So, or as of last week. So this is definitely a game for us to get right, to go out, and my expectation is to fully dominate. I expect us to cover the spread.
Yep.
Hey, on Profit X, I even made a play for plus 103 for them.
Okay.
To cover minus 24.5. So that was kind of nice odds you could get on Profit X, right?
I took one as well, Dave. I used your code Dave.
No way, really?
And I took CU, I took the over because the
That's
over
great.
was 50 points. I think
Yeah.
there's going to be more than 50 points scored in that game. So I took the over there on a bet. So
Yes. Fun little play. That I gotta correct. We use plays. That's what we
That's
say.
right.
It's sports prediction. But I love that play for you, Russ. That's beautiful. So one thing that I do that I am a little nervous about. Northside says it here. I don't trust this team. Now he might have been saying this about CU, but they're gonna do some wild shit. Delaware very well could do some wild stuff here, running some trick plays because
yeah,
again, they're not going to become a power team overnight, and you got to stick with your identity coming into these matchups. Like you just got to do you. But I imagine, man, they are going to try some things to kind of swing momentum in their favor right away, and we got to be ready to go. We got to pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, if it's anything to anyone, I think that Delaware probably throws the entire playbook at Colorado and every play they could possibly have, because for them to come into Boulder and beat Colorado as a 24-point underdog would be probably one of the best wins that Delaware has had in a very long time, and would really roll that team to some momentum as they, build up to full FBS status. So absolutely, I agree. I think they are going to roll everything. We need to be prepared for everything. We can't fall asleep. The defense, hey, it's a get back game because they've been called out. They got called out by Prime in the press conference today when people were asking about the offense. He immediately said, well, why isn't anybody, questioning Robert Livingston? Why aren't they questioning the defense? A little bit of a smack there. And I know he's been saying it in the meetings so far this week. The defense has a lot to prove. Now, I would hope that they take that as a challenge and they come out on fire against Delaware and don't let what happened Friday happen again. But we're going to find out who this team is, Dave. And if I'm being honest, this is one of the first games in the Coach Prime era that is on paper should be a blowout. It should be. I mean, if I'm being honest, the reason that Coach Prime says that Julian Lewis is playing this Saturday is because he expects this team to put up points and have a massive lead to where the backup players can go in. I truly think that that's what Coach Prime is thinking in the back of his head without saying it. He's not going to say it to obviously give them bulletin board material through Delaware, but I truly think that's what he's talking about when he said that Julian Lewis is absolutely playing. And guess what, Dave? If CU struggles and they're not ahead by a lot of points, well, then you got another reason to play Julian Lewis, and that's probably because the offense is not playing well. So one or the other, that's why Julian Lewis is going to be playing on Saturday, because one of those two things is going to happen. There's no in between.
Yes. And it's a win-win for the program, I think, with how you just laid it out for what happens when Julian Lewis is playing. Yep. I think it's great. He gets the experience. We need that. It's a great way to acclimate him to college football. And yeah, but don't get me wrong, Russ. I'm expecting us with Kaidon Salter to go out, get to a hot start. Give me some of your keys to the game, and then we can get into the funnest part, which is our predictions.
Number one, run the damn ball. Run the damn ball. It worked on Friday.
Yeah.
There's no reason that we should not run down their throat. By the way, Dave, I looked at their roster when it comes to their defensive line. Their interior D-line is like 270 wet.
Oh, yes. This is like playing us a couple years ago.
Yes. So I will give it to Delaware. They've got a very big, heavy offensive line. Okay. Yeah. They are 300 plus pounds, 6'5" monsters across the board. Defensively, they do not have the size. So I swear to God, if Zy Chrysler and Xavier Hill cannot power our front and get us those yards, I am going to crash out on that, because this is the game to get back right with that. Give Michael Welch the ball. Let him run half the time. I want 20 carries by Michael Welch this game. Give him the rock and let him take over as CU's running back. That's the biggest thing. Number two, keys to the game, defense, bounce back game. I need to see it from the linebackers. And I have a feeling that we're going to see a heck of a lot more of Sean Myers. And I have a feeling that he's going to take advantage of that. That dude is in waiting. He's wanted this opportunity in this moment. He's not going to let it pass him by. He's going to go out there and absolutely destroy Delaware as best he can. And finally, the last key to the game, Dave, and it's an easy one. It's an easy one. We need to continue our special teams dominance.
Thank you.
Touchbacks every single time from Buck Buchanan. Mata needs to stay 100%. Okay? And Greaves, guess what? You're not even playing on Saturday. You're going to be staying in the locker room. You know what? Come up to my section. I'll give you some beer. I've got my friend from England coming. You guys can speak your language, whatever it is between the Australians and the English. And, you know, knock back a cold one and enjoy the game because you're not going in this game. I'm calling it now. Greaves better not see the field, dang it.
Let's go. Let's go. Man, you got me bricked up, buffed up, fired up, Russ. I got to echo, run the ball. Please, God, can we have a starting running back and treat him like a freaking starting running back, not just another member of the Boy Scouts, just getting a few carries so everybody can feel good about themselves at the end of the game? No. Give Micah Welsh the ball. And collectively, with Kaidon Salter, I want to see this team have over 40 rushes. I want to see it. Please, God, please, Pat Shurmur. I know you don't listen to this little internet show, but please run the freaking ball. Run the ball.
Every play.
Run the ball.
First down.
Yes. Run
Second
it for the
down.
whole first quarter, as a Northside's saying here, man. This is exactly what we need to do. So then we can start doing the play action. Now, I was talking with my friend Jay from Unfair Sports and Coach Primetime, or Colorado Primetime Football. Hope I'm getting his channel right today. And he said, Dave, I got some bad news for you, man. We might not see much of a different offense because they're going to want to kind of hold their cards close to the chest with Houston coming up next Friday. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right.
So run the ball.
It's going to suck. But
run right down
run
the
ball.
middle.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
You don't need to.
Remember the Titans playbook. That's all we need. Just execute a few plays and do it really well. Defense, we need to just show that we're the superior athletic team, like you said. Let's get Domenicucci. He is the backup quarterback, but experienced. So let's get after this offensive line. Let's dominate their offensive line with our defensive line, and let's cover, baby. Let's get a dominant win and have us going into traveling out to Houston, very confident, ready to hit full speed from the first snap. So that's what I'm feeling, man.
We need to show everybody in the country what CU football actually is, what our identity is this year, because that first game, there was no identity. There was no rhyme or reason. I had no idea what we were doing. Are we running a dual threat quarterback system for Salter? Are we a running first team? Are we a pass heavy team? There was just no identity to this team last Friday night. And I want us to have an identity. What are we going to be doing to teams? Because the last 2 years of CU football has been that air it out, backyard, use our playmakers football. And we didn't even get that this past Friday. So I need something to hang my hat on to say that is who we're going to be as we head into Big 12 play.
Mm-hmm. All right, Russ, let's get to it. Who are some of the players that you're going to be watching this week?
I already named one, and part of it is because I do not believe that Omarion Miller is playing on Saturday. He did not practice yet again today. He was out of his uniform today, out of his uniform yesterday. Unless he practices tomorrow and practices hard, he's not. But if I'm being honest, Dave, there's no reason he should play in this game. With the receiver room that we have, somebody called me out earlier in the stream that, oh, Rose, I thought you said you had the best wide receiver room in the country. Does anybody know how wide receivers get the ball? You can have the best wide receivers in the country. If the quarterback's not getting you the ball, there's nothing you can do about that. So don't get me on that. But The depth is going to show. We don't need Omarion to play on Saturday. So as a result, I do think this is where Quentin Gibson is going to show out. He's going to show up. He's going to have that true freshman game that we have every year. Draylon Miller had it last year. Omarion Miller had it 2 years ago. I believe that they're going to use Quentin Gibson to really use his playmaking. So he's the guy that I'm watching on offense. On defense, I'm going to call it just now because I liked what I saw on tape from his limited action. I think he's going to play a ton this weekend. I think Sean Myers is going to have a heck of a game this weekend for the Buffs, and he's going to prove that the linebackers are better than average, and we just need to put the right personnel in for Colorado. So, Dave, who do you got for your players to watch?
First player, dude, Kaidon Salter. Come out there.
Shut everyone up.
Yeah.
Shut everyone up.
Yeah, there should not be a quarterback controversy, and he'll prove that. Like, he'll play within himself. If the first read ain't there, no shame in running that for, 8 yards or some change. That's really nice. Just keep the sticks moving, baby. Just go out and do your thing. Also, Micah Welsh, Trackhawk, these are guys that we just got to get the ball to. This is not rocket science, man. Football does not need to be complicated. Get it to your best players. And right now, I think some of our best players might be at the running back position. That might be a little bit of a hot take, but I love what I saw out of them against Georgia Tech. And then lastly, on defense, I want to see Jaheim Otis take another step, baby. I like what we saw out of him last week. Let's see if he gets some more playing time and
consistency.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think they're playing him into game shape. They're forcing him into game shape. I liked what I saw at times. He needs consistency. If he gets consistency, guys, look out. He'll be the player that you want him to be. I love it, Dave.
Yeah, man. So with that being said, I guess we should get to our predictions. And you want to go first or you want to go second?
I'll go first. I'll go first. I'll help you out, Dave. I'll give you some time to really simmer on this and see what
direction I go. Dark side or just Dave?
I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna get this video clipped and we're gonna come back to this next week and then Russ gonna be like, Russ doesn't know anything. Blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. This is the score it has to be. If it is not something similar to this, then something went seriously wrong for Colorado, and this season is in serious question. So I'm making my prediction based on what I believe this team should be. Okay? This team should be. This is the kind of game that they need to prove that they belong. Everybody and their, grandmas are saying that, see, you can't beat any good teams. And if we struggle against a so-called, non-FBS, new FBS school, there's going to be some problems. So with that being said, I think Kaidon Salter comes out firing. I think the playmakers are huge. I think Micah has a massive game. I think we have a 100-yard rusher on Saturday, and his name is Micah Welsh. I think that Quentin Gibson gets his first career touchdown on a sweep play that we absolutely hate. Whether it's jet sweep, whether it is a swing pass, whatever it is, Quentin Gibson is taking one to the house. The final score, with Julian Lewis, by the way, playing in this game in the second half and getting his first college touchdown pass, I am going 40-17 Colorado. Victory over the Hens. We're close, Dave. We're close to that money. Okay, we're close. It's going to be... Hey, Dave, Vegas knows. Vegas knows. Anybody knows. It's going to be like 23-24 point win. It's going to be right up against that prediction. So 40-17. How one feels is right there with me, 42-17. So it has to be that. It has to be that. And if it's not, yes, we're going to have a serious come to Jesus moment post-game / going into next week.
Man, you got me pumped up. I have a similar prediction.
The opposite?
I'm expecting our defense to go out and give them serious problems, just like we gave Colorado State problems last year. Now, it's interesting because Colorado State scored 9 points against us. Do I see us doing that? Man, I don't know. The score that feels right in my soul right now is 42-10. Give us the cover, baby. And Julian Lewis said this earlier. I think he throws for well over 100 yards and has a couple touchdowns there in that second half, man. I think that's what's going to happen with Julian Lewis. I think he's going to look great. I think we're going to run the ball effectively. I think we're going to generate turnovers because this is going to feel like, man, like even when those bad CU teams, man, when we would go up against like UNC Greeley and stuff like that, like it was just physically like a different teams, different game, man. It was a different level of play. From my understanding, Delaware didn't cover the spread against Delaware State, who is predicted to be terrible this year. So I think we go in, we cover, we win significantly.
I agree. And it looks like most of the chat is agreeing. I get it, guys.
Oh, man, words are biblical. That's the best compliment I ever had.
Dave the Prophet. That's your new name,
with how often I'm wrong on this channel.
Church of the Horns. Church of the Horns.
Dude, yeah, it kind of sounds evil. I like it.
Dark Side Dave, Church of the Horns. Where's the AI logo of that? Dave eating babies? I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, but Michael Welch needs to be MVP. Let's see him rush for like 200 yards. Just
I want to see the
Wouldn't
first
that be great?
big running back game out of Colorado in what? It has to be 4, 5, 6 seasons. I mean, again, you have the dark times post 2016 where it's hard to remember those times. You go back to Philip Lindsay era. That was when we had a good running back. It's been rough. It's been rough.
Remember when we get destroyed by Air Force? Now, hopefully, we get to do the opposite to Delaware. That's my hope. What was the stat last week? It takes like 25,000 Yellow Jackets to kill a Buffalo. Now, Unfortunately, their 11-man defense was good enough to kill a Buffalo. But I don't even know. I think it might take 1 million blue hens to kill a Buffalo. Surely,
you want to know?
Take 1 million, yes.
You want to know, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. It is not possible for any number of hens to take down a buffalo. A buffalo is massive, powerful, and a hen poses no threat whatsoever, says AI.
Dude, why do we even have this show? All we need to do is just play that for the game preview, man. Is that not perfect?
None. Not a single hen. It wouldn't matter if you had 1 billion hens. A buffalo weighs 2,000 pounds, and a hen typically weighs 1 pound to 2 pounds.
Wow, man. Sometimes you can call it as you see it, man. A buffalo against 1 billion blue hens. Buffalo's winning.
Easy. A buffalo wins it. Dave, I swear, this needs to be the Coach Prime BTA. I'm sorry, but I have a feeling they're not going to respect Delaware. He's going to try and run them out of Boulder. He is going to try and run them out of Boulder and the score up so that he can get Julian Lewis in, so he can get Quennell Farrakhan in this game, so he can get Cardi Smith and Chauncey Gooden into this game. He wants to get those guys experience on Saturday, so Coach Prime is probably going to be playing for that. I wouldn't be surprised, Dave, if they go for it on every first down or fourth down. If they don't, like I said, I do not see Greaves coming on that field like at all. I mean, Coach Prime better be just aggressive in this, and I'm sure he's going to piss off Delaware fans and the Delaware coach, but I just have a weird feeling that that's what's going to be attempted by Colorado on Saturday with everything.
I don't know, man. I feel like these Delaware fans know what they're getting into, man.
I hope
be a little friendly matchup here.
I hope your friend gets, some blue moon in him. He enjoys the Boulder air, the Boulder scenery. Because you know what, I think
I'm
he knows
sending
what
him
he's
to
going
Meow
into.
Wolf. So
okay,
yeah, that'll be perfect after the game. Just go to Meow Wolf and leave the universe.
If I see a Delaware fan, I'm going to treat him like I did with the Oklahoma State fans last year. I will be honest, Dave. The Oklahoma State fans surprised me. They were not too bad when they lost so poorly last year. And I felt bad for them, and they took it, in stride. So
Well,
we'll
you gotta
see what
remember,
happens.
man. Delaware fans, they're just now starting to enjoy just being on the FBF stage, man. There are levels to this, man. They understand that, but yeah, hopefully we don't give them many reasons to cheer for the Blue Hens at all on Saturday. This should be a game that we dominate. And by the way, Russ, where's this being broadcasted? I don't even know.
Oh, it's
What are we
national
gonna do
TV.
now? Oh, it is.
It
Okay.
is. Yeah. Let me double check. It is on, unless somebody else gets it for me. Oh, come on.
Yeah,
Buffs
Delaware gets a
Wire.
game at 1:30 on Fox. According
Fox.
to
Yep.
That's enough for them.
We are on Fox, baby. That is a nationally televised game on Fox. We better show up. We better show up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we better show up. Russ, dude, it's always the highlight of my week. Getting on here, previewing the Buffs game, freaking out about the Buffs game, talking crap about Pat Shurmur. It's like now becoming one of my favorite pastimes. So tell the people, man, where can they find you? What do you got going on this week?
Friday, I am going to do a Delaware call-in show. I'm going to let people call in and give their predictions for the game. Tell me what they think is going to happen in the game. We'll see how that goes. Also, Dave, I'm at the game this weekend. I will be at the Delaware game. I will be in the stadium. When we do the post-game show, I will most likely be calling in / using my phone. Hopefully I have good enough service to talk to you from potentially the stadium or on my way home. We'll see what happens after that game.
Okay.
So, hey, if anybody out there sees me at the football game, feel free to come up and say hello. I'll also be at the DNVR tailgate. So if you want to find me real easily before the game, you'll find me at the DNVR tailgate, drinking some beer, enjoying myself, taking my friend to his first college football game ever from England. So excited to get him to experience everything on Saturday, even though he doesn't get to see Ralphie run, Dave. I'm still frustrated with that. That's a whole nother.
It's all right. We just had a cosplay Ralphie the last few years. It's all right.
Still a fun thing to see, but excited to get to be at a game in person. And then Monday, we will have either the Crash Out Monday show or Victory Monday. And this past Crash Out Monday was pretty darn good, Dave. And people behaved. People behaved. I will say that, Dave. They behaved.
Dude, you got way more stones than I do, man, doing a call-in show. Guys, this is why we got to get Russ to like 15K. Come on, guys. Go in there, subscribe to Buffs News Weekly and the Blue Hens podcast. I got links in there as well because I want to see him succeed, man. So, man, I can't wait. Really quick, guys, and if it's okay, Russ, I want to plug a couple things.
Yep.
So, I'm sorry, man. I cannot pronounce his username. Nitro.
Yeah, just call it Nitro.
Nitro. Saying, hey, you sick of Texas yet? When you're coming home? Not coming home yet, but hey, nothing's off the table. What more can I do to help you get that monetization fixed? Well, I am sending a demand letter this week. I mean, we'll see how that goes. But honestly, the thing that you can do to support this, everything I got going on, of course, just interact with me. Watch my videos, hype them up, like them. If you want to join my Patreon and Discord, Russ is in there. We're trying to get this momentum going within this Discord. It should be a lot of fun. Or, hey, send me $2 and pay for a cup of coffee on Cash App, man. That will help me make some good Reels or TikToks. So, yeah, you guys are what makes this fun. And again, big shout out to our sponsors, Taco Bell sponsoring, the Buff Box and a lot of the CU content creators. And of course, this is real NIL, guys. Like, this is true NIL, not Steve Ballmer, Kawhi Leonard, fake tree planting company type of collusion going on here that Alabama used to do all the time. AJ McCarron's living in his own fake reality. Nah, man, this is real NIL. This is super cool. And, Steve Ballmer wishes. he wishes he could do this. And yeah, shout out to Prophet X again for being my sports prediction flagship sponsor of David Talks Buff. So you're going to see a lot of that. And we're going to have some great plays for you guys throughout the season. Any last words, Russ?
I got nothing. Let's get on to Saturday. Let's get past the Georgia Tech game. Let's see what happens Saturday, guys. And let's all hope for a big CU victory and having a victory Monday next week. Appreciate you, Dave. Appreciate our sponsors. Sco Buffs as always.
Sco Buffs.